Hi guys, welcome back to Smash Knits Podcast episode 3. Now, I know it has been a bit of a while since I've seen you guys. I think last time I filmed one of these was about 4 weeks ago. Well, released one anyway. I did try to film one a week ago, but I just couldn't string 2 words together to make a sentence. Just everything was going wrong, so that's why it's a little bit later. I hope to post every approximately 3 weeks. I don't want it to leave it too long. So thank you so much for waiting around. If you haven't been here before, my name is Ash, aka Smash, and I am a knitter based in Melbourne, and I do, this little knitting podcast from Australia. So welcome anyone who's not from Australia, or welcome my fellow Australians. Alrighty, so let's get into the good stuff. I have one finished object, which I'm wearing now, which I'm very excited about, and then I have a nearly finished object, a whip, a couple whips actually, and so we're just gonna get started with that. So we'll start off by talking about my Novice cardigan. I think last time you saw this, all I had to do was sew on the button bands and get some buttons. So I've done that now, and I've got these beautiful little wooden buttons. I love them so much. They are so cute. I got them from Button Mania, which is just outside of Melbourne City in Moorabbin. It's this wonderful little button shop. It's got every button you could possibly think of. It is so eclectic. I love it. The lady there, I cannot remember her name. I'm so sorry, but she was so helpful. She was super helpful. She helped me pick all of the buttons out, and they're this gorgeous little wood buttons. So I'm obsessed. They're very, oh my god, so cute. Because I wanted something feminine, but I didn't want something childish. I originally thought I wanted something with little flowers as the shape of the button, but when I put that up against the cardigan, because I took it with me into the button shop, they just looked very childish. It looked like I was a big kid with little flowers. So I'm really glad that these kind of laser etched flowers on the wood give that delicate, kind of very feminine feeling without being, childish, for example. So this is the first cardigan I've ever made, and I've made one top before, which was the anchor tee, and then I've nearly finished my vest, which you'll see later. So because I'm new in terms of knitting actual bodice garments, I don't really know the difference between how certain constructions fit, a round yoke versus one with German short rows and all this stuff, because when you're buying clothes, you don't really think about it. You don't think about the construction of the garment. You just put it on, you see if you if it fits, if it doesn't, and you don't really go into further detail about, how is this garment being constructed, because you've never had to think about it before. If you don't like the thing, you can just return it. You can't do that with knitting. You can repurpose the yarn, but you can't, take back all those hours that you put into making it. So this cardigan has really kind of, awakened me to the thought that I actually need to be conscious of the actual construction and how it's going to fit on my body. This one is, the Novice cardigan by PetiteKnit is a circular yoke. So it doesn't have any short row shaping. It's not it doesn't have raglan creases or anything like that. And because of that, I find that if I'm walking or doing any kinds of brisk movement, it kind of slips off my shoulders a bit, especially if there's wind. If there's wind involved, it's gone, bye, see ya. So that's one thing that I wish I kind of took into more consideration. I feel maybe if you had narrow shoulders and sharper shoulders to kind of help for it to hang on to, that would be helpful. But I've got very sloping shoulders, so it kind of just slips off, which is a little bit annoying because there's nothing really I can do about that. Yes, I could button it up, but I don't like to wear my cardigans buttoned up, so I'm not too sure. I thought it would change if I I definitely couldn't wear a singlet under this. I have to wear a long sleeve or some sort of t-shirt for the fabric to cling on to. Talking about the fabric, it is this absolutely delicious purple color. It's got all these lovely kind of variegation in the yarn. If I didn't mention it before, I did mention it in my previous podcast, but everything else will be linked down below. Like I will list everything. So if you see anything, don't know what it is because I didn't mention it because I'm very forgetful, it will be down below. So I am using the Rosarius for Merian in this delicious purple color with these lovely kind of like warm burnt orangey colors tones to it, and it's got, oh my god, I'm really doing a poor job of showing you this, and it's got kind of like more lilac-y lavender kind of cool tone purple throughout it. Then I'm pairing it with this, which is Gepard Kid Silk in the color, oh, and it's like lilac-y kind of purpley color. And these pair really well together. I absolutely love them. So that's what I'm using. This is 100% merino wool. This is Kid Silk Mohair. And they make this absolutely lovely kind of, it kind of, the purple tones down the variegation a little bit and helps it blend more seamlessly. I did not alternate skeins of the variegated yarn when I knit this. I should have, but I'm kind of lazy and I don't really care. I didn't really care if it pulled. I was kind of like, oh, if it pulls, it's like part of the character of the cardigan. So I didn't really like give too much of a shit about that. You can kind of see that it's like a little bit stripy. It doesn't bother me. I like it. I think it's kind of fun. I like stripes. But it's really, really soft. I had never knit with mohair before, like an actual full body garment. I had knit like a beanie before, but never anything that was like gonna go on my body. At the start, I was really worried because every time I tried this on, it would feel kind of itchy. And I was one of those people who kind of scoffed at people who were like, oh, you find mohair itchy? How could anyone find mohair itchy? I found it a bit itchy at the start. I was hoping that it would block out, and when I blocked it the first time before I knit the before I picked up stitches for the button band, I tried it on and it was still itchy. And it was itchy in the places that I didn't expect it to be itchy. I thought, because everyone always talks about it being itchy up near like the chest area, like the collar, the neck, but that was not my problem. It was itchy on my arms. And that would really surprise me because I don't feel like I'm particularly sensitive to anything on my arms, but I was feeling it. I was like, I could feel every strand, and it was really like, ooh, it was like nails on a chalkboard, and it did not feel good. So I was really worried because after you've put like, you know, probably hundreds of hours into this cardigan, I was like, oh my God, am I even going to be able to wear it? After I knit the button band and I blocked it a second time, actually softened up quite a bit. Then the more I've worn it, because this is like the third or fourth time I've worn it, it's become really soft. So it's not itchy at all now. So I'm very happy with that because I was very scared. And yeah, now it's really soft. It doesn't bother me. It's kind of like inside it's, you know, must have been, you know, the frictions kind of made it a bit more soft, woven the fibers together, like meshed them together a bit more so they're not as like sticky addy. And so that's really good. So that's not an issue anymore. So yeah. So if you do end up needing a mohair cardigan and it is a bit itchy or like a jumper or anything, give it a chance, wear it a few times. It might soften up because it did for me, and I'm all the more grateful for it. Another thing, I'm just going to talk about a little bit about the construction of the cardigan as well. It, yeah, like I said before, it's a circular yoke. It has no decreases in the arm. So the whole time you just pick up, when you pick up stitches, you knit everything, no decreases, and then you do one row of like very dramatic decreasing when you get to the cuff, and then all of like the finishing, so the cuff, the collar, the button band, and then there's also the ribbing on the bottom. That is all 1 by 1 ribbing. I use the recommended needle size for everything. I think the recommended needle size was 4mm for the body and the arms, and then all of the edging, all of the ribbing is, I think, 3.5mm. So, and I think it came out quite well. Like, I think the fit is nice. I have no qualms about the fit in terms of how it is around my bust and my hips, like around the arms. It's kind of like that perfect hair, little bit like baggy, but not too baggy. That's how it fits on her. Now, at the start, when I first tried this on, I was very concerned about the sleeve length. The sleeves are a bit long, and you can't really tell now because, like, when I talk like this, it's like you can see the cuff. But if I stand straight and flat, this portion of the bishop sleeve really folds over and kind of hides the ribbing, which I think is the cutest part. So if I was going to knit this again, I would knit the sleeve slightly shorter, because I knit these to the recommended length that the pattern called for. I didn't knit the body to the recommended length that the pattern called for, and it sits just right at my hips. I'm really glad I did that, because if I had have gone, I think it was like an extra 10 centimeters it wanted me to go, it would have been past my bum, I'm pretty sure. So I'm very glad that I did just kind of knit to where I wanted to. Another reason why I knit shorter as well was because I wasn't too sure if I was going to have enough yarn for this. I originally started with 6 balls of each, so 6 of these and 6 of these, and that was equaled just over the meterage that I needed for my size, and I knit 3XL. I ended up having to buy a few more balls of each. I ended up using like 1 and a bit extra balls of the wool, so I ended up using like 1 and like a quarter more than it called for, and then I ended up using about half a ball more than the pattern called for. So I did gauge swatch, but because I'm kind of new at this whole gauge swatch thing, I just completely ignored my row gauge and only went off the stitch gauge. So as soon as I hit stitch gauge, I was like, great, I'm awesome. I'm like so on top of this thing. I don't need to change my needle size. I've got the perfect amount of yarn. It's gonna be just so amazing and so easy. Not the case. It was easy to knit, but it was not so easy having to fork out more money for yarn. So yeah, I just completely ignored my row gauge. So I would not recommend doing that, because this doesn't, especially, I'm lucky that this pattern isn't like knit 10 rows, then do this. It's knit till you get to this many centimeters. So I was able at least to get the size, and I was lucky on that account, but not every pattern's going to be like that. So I need to make sure that I check my row gauge next time. Lesson learned, like beginner knitter things, I guess. But yeah, other than the sleeve issue and the fact that it's like a bit slippy, I really love this cardigan. Like, I'm very proud of myself. This is my first ever cardigan I've ever made. I'm super proud of myself. I'm in love with it. I wore it to work. I wear it literally everywhere because I don't know if you're anything like me, but as soon as I knit something, I'm like wearing it. I'm like, look at my cardigan. Have you seen it? Look at this. I'm such a show off when it comes to my knit, where I just like want everyone to ask me about it, which is probably very insufferable, but I don't really care. But yes, so I do really love it. I think for a first project, if you're a beginner, I think this is good. If you don't mind like the circular like yoke situation, the actual pattern itself was really good. Like, I didn't have any issues. It was very straightforward, very clear. And I've heard that PetiteKnit patterns are like that, and that's why they're like, you know, they're always classic styles. They're very straightforward. So, you know, people tend to like to knit them because they're quite manageable. And yeah, and I found this really easy to knit. I had no problems. You know, I had to do a little bit of math for the button band because I knit a bit shorter, so it called for 9 buttons and I did 8. So that was, again, not too hard to do. So yeah, I felt it was like really satisfying, really easy knit. Yeah, I would definitely recommend, but I don't think I would knit it again, only because of the circular like yoke situation, only because it does slip off a bit. You know, I really do want to like try the chunky version. She has like a chunky version of this. I do want to try that and see if it makes any difference in like a chunkier yarn. Also, just because I would like a quick knit. Like this was DK weight, oversized cardigan, so it took a while. It took a good solid 2 months to get this off the needles. I'm sure I could have done it shorter, because I let this rest for about a week without doing the button band, because for some reason I had convinced myself that the button band was going to take me like a week, and I think that's because the sewn, oh yeah, I did like a sewn cast off on the bottom, and that took me forever. I felt like I was going to be 83 by the time I finished that, but the actual button band didn't take very long at all. It took me like 2 nights. So yeah, I was really convinced that was going to take me forever, so that sat for a while there. But also should mention that I got 12mm buttons, not 15 like the pattern recommended, and that was because when I put 15 up to it, it kind of covered the whole button band. So it wasn't really, you know, didn't really care because I'm not going to button it up, so I don't really need it to, oh my god, mohair in my mouth. Didn't really need it to button up properly, so whatever. Not a big fuss. Now, then, oh my god, mohair in my mouth. That's the only bad thing about mohair, is that when it's up in the air, it's like floating around, you inhale it, you just can't get it out of your mouth. So I'm sorry if that's annoying. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. No promises though, no promises. The next thing I'm going to show you, I am very excited about. I've nearly finished it. I'm so close to finishing it. And that is my Friday Slipover by PetiteKnit. This I am knitting in Woolen Works DK Merino. Can you see that? Okay. DK Merino in this pink color, which is called Sand Friend Flowers. I picked up the yarn at like a crafternoon that she had. So it was like slightly discounted, so that was great. And it's this amazing pink color. It's so bright. It's definitely like bubblegum, very Barbie pink. At the time though, I wasn't even thinking, I was kind of thinking Barbie, but it was before the movie came out. So I was kind of like, oh, you know, it would be so fun to do something really bright and pink. I love pink. I have a lot of pink in my wardrobe, and this would match a lot of dresses and things like that. So I'm so excited. I am so stoked at this. So this is a like overall pattern. It's like broken rib stitch vest. What is it? Like you knit like the back panel like to here first, then you pick up stitches. Oh, can you see that? Hang on. Pick up stitches here and knit the front panel, and then you join in the round, and then you knit in the round. It's heavy on the arms. I am absolutely loving this. I never thought that, you know, when I picked the pattern, I was looking for something that was like texturally interesting, not too difficult, but I was really kind of looking for something that was in DK weight and would suit the amount of yarn I had. Because when I first bought all the yarn, I was intending to make a cardigan, but then I soon realized that the 4 skeins that I had, that I had bought was not enough to make a cardigan. So I was kind of a bit confused on what I was going to do with it. So I, you know, scoured Ravelry for like every vest pattern that I could possibly find in DK weight, and it was actually harder than you think. Every single one that I found in like DK weight that I liked was either didn't have my size or the meterage was like huge, and I only was really working with like 940 meters, not a lot. So I know that seems a lot to some people, but as someone who's like a 3XL, you know, in patterns most of the time, it's hard to get something within that yarn meterage constraint. So when I found this, that was like really interesting, it had this interesting pattern, it had these lovely kind of increases. It just looked really nice. Like the construction looked really beautiful. It looked really neat. And I could easily see myself like cropping it so that I could get like to use all my yarn. I'm in love with it. I know that not everyone loves a vest, but I feel like vests are so versatile because you can wear this over a t-shirt, wear it over a dress, you can wear it over like an oversized button down, and that's what I plan to do. I think it's just amazing. A few things that I am doing different with this is that it has, in the pattern, it calls for a double, like a folded over collar. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think it's going to, because like all of the ribbing on the edge of the sleeves or the armholes is like 1 by 1 ribbing, and it's not like folded over in any of the other areas. I just feel like it's going to look weird if only the collar's folded over, and it kind of has like a pico edge in her photos, like in her sample photos, and I don't really like that. So I'm just going to do a normal 1 by 1 rib on the collar. And another thing that I've done is I have split the hem. Now all of the vest patterns, and this is just because like, you know, it just happens, it's a vest thing, had it so that it was just like a solid ribbing band, but I didn't want it to look too boxy on me. I wanted to give more shape. So I thought a way that I could, you know, solve that problem would be to split the hem, because then it would cinch in a bit and flare out at the same time, giving that kind of like curved in, curved out kind of sense. And I think that would look really good with me, who has like a bigger bust, just to kind of make sure that it doesn't look like I'm wearing a tent and it doesn't look too boxy. And when I tried it on yesterday, it worked. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, and it looks so good, and I'm so happy with it. I am ecstatic with this. I couldn't tell you how happy I am. The whole process knitting this has been just an absolute pleasure. This is something that I feel like I really doubt myself. I'm like, am I a project knitter or am I a process knitter? Because I'm having so much fun knitting this. I just love everything about it. The pattern keeps it interesting, so it's not just plain stockinette stitch all the time. The little things like techniques like picking up the stitches and knitting like the different panels, for me, was like really interesting because I'd never done that before. So it kind of like was really satisfying. It was very satisfying because I felt like I was achieving something at every little section that I did. And because I'm doing the split hem on the bottom, the ribbing feels like it's going past very quickly because I'm only knitting like half of it at a time. And then when I did a like a sewn cast off on the bottom, that didn't take very long either because I'm only doing it on half of the body. I'm not having to like drag. If you've ever done a sewn cast off before, you have to have like the yarn that you're sewing through is continuous for the whole thing. So obviously you have to have enough. So when you do like a whole body at the bottom, it's a lot of yarn. So you're like, most of the time, the actual time consuming part is just like pulling the yarn through while you're sewing it off. But if you're only doing half, it's less yarn to pull through, which means it doesn't take as long. So that's a little handy trick. If you want to like, if you hate doing sewn cast offs, whatever, doing a split hem really makes it a lot easier and a lot more manageable to do. So I just love it. I love it so much. So I'm just working at the moment on the back ribbing portion, and I'll probably be done pretty soon with that. And then I don't think the collar or the like the edging on the sleeves will take very long. Now this is superwash wool, so I have knit it slightly shorter than I would need it, so that if it grows, it doesn't grow down too long. I think that's gonna work. The only thing I'm concerned about is that I heard a couple of people talk about vests recently where when they did the ribbing on the like on the arms, holes, whatever, it tightened it a lot and pulled it up a lot, and that's the only thing that I'm a bit concerned of, is that going to pull it up too much, and is it going to be too short? So I'm hoping that with the superwash growing and the cinching in of the armholes, that it's going to like even out and it's not going to be a problem. So because this is really amazing, I'm so freaking pleased with myself. I've even, when I tried it on yesterday, I was like, I think I might make another one. Not right away, but definitely maybe in a year from now, or even under a year, I would definitely make another one of these, because I'm having so much fun knitting this, and it's like so nice knowing that, like, oh, I don't have to do a button band, oh, I don't have to do any sleeves. I'm super duper excited to have this finished, and I'm definitely going to wear it in the next podcast, so you'll see it there. Oh my god, I love it. I'm so excited. I love it so much. Alrighty. I've got another finished object. A small one, but is it finished if you haven't blocked it? I think it's finished. This is my, what's it called? Hipster. My Hipster Hat by PetiteKnit. I know this is very PetiteKnit heavy. I'm trying to branch out, and you will see in the future that I will be knitting other patterns from other designers. It's just at the moment, because like I'm a beginner, I just find that PetiteKnit patterns are easy. I feel really comfortable with them. So that's why you see so many. But in the future, I'm definitely branching out, and I'm definitely going to be using, you know, being more inclusive of the whole knitting community. But yes, so this is the Hipster Hat. You would have seen this last time as well. I only had the head itself to finish, like the decreases on the head, and I've done those. It didn't take me very long, and I knew it wasn't going to take me very long, but it was like that little finishing that I just really couldn't be bothered with. And like I said before in my previous podcast, DPNs are not my favorite. I don't like magic loop either, so I would prefer DPNs at least, because I've kind of learned how to, I first originally learned how to knit socks on them, and then got traumatized because that was too hard, and then like pivoted to the 9-inch circular, but I still obviously have to use DPNs for finishing the toes and for doing things like the sleeves and the tops of beanies. So I'm glad I know, but yeah, it's not my favorite thing to do. But what my favorite thing is the color. Oh my god, this is knit with Sandnes Garn, that in that orange feeling. Oh, double Sunday in that orange feeling, and I'm in love. I love the color. I am loving the 2x2 rib. I think it looks so cute. I haven't blocked this, so it is a bit tight, chubby, but I really love it. The little finishing details that I feel like I put extra time into, like the tubular cast on and things like that, I think really makes this. One thing that I did stuff up though was the decreases. There's like, when you do the decreases, you do like one row of knit, one row of the decreases, and I feel like because I put this down and then picked it up quite a while later, I lost where I was at and what row I was meant to be doing. So I think there was times where I like double decreased. So it looks a bit janky. It looks a little janky, but I'm hoping that blocks out. Yeah, I'm hoping it blocks out. So let me put it on, because it's so cute and I love it so much. Sorry if I'm like squinting a bit, the sun is like right in my eyes, so, but oh my god. Okay, success. All right, so this is the beanie. I feel like this is the first beanie I've made, and I've made 3. Like I've got a few beanies here that I have made. I feel like this is the first beanie that I've made that actually fits my head well, like isn't like a weird length, because I feel like all of my other beanies I have made too short because I've been too afraid to make them too long, and so they kind of look a little hipstery. Like I know this is called the Hipster Hat, but like very hipstery, where it like doesn't even cover my ears, whereas this is like the first hat I've made where I feel like, oh, it actually covers my ears, it's actually going to keep me warm, and it's really, really nice. The double Sunday is really nice to knit with. It feels luxurious, and I have like a lot left. Like I only use like 1 and probably 1.5 balls, so I could definitely make you know, use this for like color work and another beanie, or only have to get like 1 other skein to make another beanie for a friend or something. But I really like it. The only thing that I had a gripe with this Sandnes Garn Double Sunday was that because, actually I'll grab it so that you can kind of see, because it's kind of, I don't know, like loosely, how am I going to show this to you and have the camera focused? Because the yarn is kind of loosely spun, it does come off as a bit uneven while you're knitting, and that does bother me a little bit, because I'm definitely one of those people who, when they knit, they like stop every, I don't know, 3 or 4 rows and admire their knitting and look at how it's so neat, it's so nice, I like it so much. So when I was like looking at this, I was kind of like, oh, it looks really messy, it doesn't look very good, but hopefully that blocks out. So that's my only gripe with the Double Sunday. It feels nice, it's nice to knit with, but that's the only gripe, is that it just, because of the way that it's spun, it looks kind of uneven when you knit, and hopefully that'll block out. But the color, oh my god, so nice. And I don't know how neat that looks, so you're gonna have to tell me. But yes, I'm so obsessed. I'm obsessed. It's kind of got like almost like short row decrease, not short row, what am I talking about? Raglan decreases, because you're keeping this like continuous 1 rib on each quarter, and that's a really nice detail, which is why I picked this pattern to knit, because I really liked how that looked in the sample photo, and I think the sample photo actually has it in this color too. I was just obsessed with everything, and I think I mentioned this in my first podcast, but I am intending to make some fingerless gloves. I feel like because today is the 2nd day of spring, I might push that out till next year, and like that can be kind of a project that I can do next year in winter, because it's, you know, getting sunnier. So yeah, I'm super happy with that. And this took me so long. This took me just as much time to make, like if you think about like the actual, you know, not the time put in to make it, but that chronological time that has passed since starting this project. I'm pretty sure I started the cardigan and these at the same time, and I think I finished them at relatively the same time, so that just shows you how lucky it is to have been saved from the whip grave. Alrighty, I also have some whips. I don't know if I could call this like whips plural, because technically it's kind of like the same whip. But one of the ladies that goes to the yarn store, that my local yarn store, Loom and Spindle, she knits all of her socks on magic loop, and she does this so that she can knit 2 socks at a time, you know, avoiding second sock syndrome. So smart. But like you've heard me say, and I will say it again, I'm not a fan of magic loop. So my little hack way around doing that, but also being able to use my 9-inch circulars, was just to get another 9-inch circular. Duh. So I am knitting these socks. I don't know what they're called. I will have the pattern link down below, but it is a pattern by this Handmade Life, and I picked it up on her birthday sale. Everyone's having birthdays. Lots of people have birthdays around this time, so but we know what their parents were doing 9 months ago. The pattern, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a 2x2 rib pattern. It's a beautiful rib sock, and I am knitting it in this, I think it's called Charsky. No, it's not. That's a lie. What is it? Let me find the tag. It's by Amano yarns, and it's called Yupi, and it's 80% superwash and 20% baby alpaca, and it is a sock yarn. It's a softer sock yarn, and it's this gorgeous kind of, has these bluey, purpley, pink, creamy kind of stripy colors, and this is what it looks like kind of knitted up in the sock. So it's kind of got like self-striping in it. This is the first time I've worked with a self-striping sock yarn, and I'm really liking it. I think I did a really good job of matching the socks up so that the striping was the same. So I'm pretty proud of myself with that. But these are just so easy to knit because it's just 2x2. Keep on going, and then the heel is a short row heel to match the ribbing. And then the ribbing just continues all the way down the sock. I think this is a sport weight. Actually, it's not a fingering. The pattern calls for fingering, but I'm just using this because it was gifted to me by my boyfriend for last Christmas, and it's really lovely, and I've been kind of looking for a pattern to use it. And so I'm just doing that, and these are great. Like, I feel like if you're not a sock knitter, you should get into socks because they're such an easy project to take with you. Like, we went to a footy game last Sunday, and it was just so easy to take it, knit. I didn't even have to look, and I was just knitting, and because they're just so compact, they're very easy. I now understand why people take them into the movie theater. I always just think, oh, that's crazy, like, you can't even see what you're doing. But 9-inch circulars, once you get used to them, I feel like knitting without looking is really easy because it's so small. You can really feel the tension change if you pick up a stitch wrong. So I'm really loving these, and I'm very excited not to have second sock syndrome and to have 2 socks. So I'm very excited for that. So that's my current whip. So I don't know how long this will take me. I'm just kind of chipping away at them here and there. I'm not in a rush to finish them. I've had this yarn for like nearly a year, so you know, obviously I'm not in a rush. Alrighty, next I have like one yarn acquisition, I guess you could say. It's not a big one, it's this. So in my first podcast, I talked about how I wanted to knit the Marysia cardigan. And it's this beautiful faux cable cardigan by Aleksandra. I can't remember her last name. I'll link it down below. I'll have it somewhere on the screen. I really love that cardigan. I saw Knits by Mandy make it in Knitting for Olive Merino in like the dusty artichoke color, and I thought it was so beautiful. I loved it so much, but I didn't want to do it in dusty artichoke. I wanted to do it in a different color, and that's when I originally bought this, which is this beautiful kind of bubblegum pink. But I have pivoted from that idea. I think because I knit this cardigan, which was like purpley pink, I knit my vest, which was pink. I have I'm gonna knit like the Rad Plaid Cow by Andrea Mowry, and that's gonna be in like a pinky shade. That I was kind of like over the pink a bit. Like, I'll never stop wearing it. That's not what I'm saying. But I kind of just didn't want to stare at pink again. You know, I was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna put this on the back burner and pivot. And one of the ideas I had was like, you know what, I'm always going for color. I'm always gravitating towards color. Why don't I do something kind of like really like plain and classic and nice? And I saw that my local yarn store had Cozy Comfort by Heirloom, and it's this alpaca silk wool blend, and it's so soft and it's fluffy, and it's 8-ply, and it's so gorgeous. I really wanted to try it out, so that's what I did, and I knit a swatch, which is which is here in that faux rib pattern, and it's really beautiful and it's so soft. But I've pivoted again. I'm so indecisive when it comes to color. I feel like, especially with this cardigan, I want a color that shows the pattern off well, and I feel like because it's fuzzy, it kind of gets a little lost. So I'm hoping that the yarn that I have ordered that's on the way will be the perfect match. It's this beautiful bluey light cornflower color, and it was like Knit Picks palette. So I'm very excited. I'm hoping that that is the color that satiates me with this cardigan pattern, because I've already bought the pattern. I really want to make it. I don't want to waste this pattern. So hoping that does the trick, because I love the feel of this. I just feel like the pattern, the faux cable pattern, gets lost in the fluff. I really want to make a cardigan out of this wool though, because it's so, oh my god, it's so soft. So I have to think of something else. I only bought one ball, so it's not like I've, you know, committed heavily financially to that decision, and that's why I only bought one. But yes, but you'll see that probably by the time that I film my next podcast, you would have seen, hopefully my yarn order would arrive and I can show you. I really want to do, I know that everyone at the moment is releasing their like, what I plan knitting for fall, or my autumn mood board knitting plans, like everyone, I see everyone releasing them, and that's so great. But for like me who lives in Australia, it's like, oh, it's spring now. So I'm not really looking to autumn things, I'm looking towards spring things. And I know I can go back and watch those videos, but I was just wondering if like, would anyone, you know, let me know down in the comments if you guys would be interested in me doing kind of like my spring knitting plans, if that interests you. I'm not too sure, because like everyone in the Northern Hemisphere is on the autumn kick, if anyone would be interested in seeing what I plan to knit for spring. So let me know if that's something that interests you, because I really want to kind of do something that's a bit more themed, you know, as well as the podcast. So but thank you so much for sitting and joining me and listening to me ramble on. I'm sorry if I spoke too quickly in some parts. That happens sometimes. You know, chatty Cathy. So, but I really enjoyed spending this time with you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. I hope your knitting is successful and nothing gets frogged. No frogs here. And I'll see you next time. Bye.